Celebrities and beauty brands may seem like a match made in marketing heaven, but the outcome of celebrities' attempts at entering the beauty space vary greatly in terms of success, with many ending in outright failure because people honestly just aren't interested. Today I want to talk about two huge names in Hollywood, Brad Pitt and Jared Leto. Just a few years ago, they both launched their own luxury beauty brands, just 1 month apart. One of them found success but ultimately failed to live up to the hype, and the other, it possibly is the biggest beauty flop in the world of celebrity beauty brands. Let's talk about Domaine. When you think of Brad Pitt, you probably don't really think about his skincare brand. In fact, you probably didn't even know he had a skincare brand, and there's a good reason for that. But first of all, we need to understand how and why Brad Pitt ever got involved in skincare in the first place. A question we have for most celebrity skincare brands. But the story actually goes back over a decade to when him and his wife, at the time, Angelina Jolie, bought Chateau Miraval in France. The chateau included extensive vineyards, which sounds great, but apparently the vineyards were losing huge amounts of money every single year. So hoping to stop this hemorrhaging of cash, Pitt approached the Perrin family, who were renowned winemakers that lived nearby. And the Perrins helped Pitt to kind of get his new vineyards operating more effectively, efficiently, and they eventually became partners, helping him to produce wine and bring in money to help the upkeep of the chateau. But just a few years earlier, the Perrin family had actually started doing some research into the antioxidant properties of various grape extracts, initially mostly thinking about the possibilities surrounding the grape skins, which kind of get thrown out in the winemaking process, right? They ended up bringing in the help of Pierre-Louis Tessedry, a specialist in wine and human health and a professor at the University of Bordeaux. With Tessedry's help, they carried out 15 years of research into the antioxidant properties of wine and the grapes used to produce wine. What they eventually came up with was GSM-10, a proprietary ingredient made from a blend of grape extracts, which apparently combats antioxidant stress, helping to slow down the skin's aging process. Cordially, you know? During this time, they also brought in another expert in aging, Dr. Nicholas Levy, who helped to develop another proprietary compound. I can't say that word. Proprietary compound, Pro-GR3, which is made from chamomile, green tea, and grapevine extracts. This blend apparently helps slow down signs of aging in the skin and works well with GSM-10 to supercharge this effect, supposedly. Together, they are the brand's unique selling point, and they are at the heart of all of Domaine's products. Now, throughout the years of partnership with Brad Pitt on the winemaking at his estate, the parents had formed a friendship with the actor, and they often discussed the science of winemaking as well as the research that they were doing, which Pitt apparently found very, very interesting. So when the parents approached him asking if he wanted to partner with them again to create a skincare brand, he said yes. Despite having little to no interest in skincare before then, Pitt agreed to be part of the brand because he was fascinated with the science behind the ingredients and because he thought that what they were doing was something special and different enough to stand out in the market. Again, have they heard of Cordially? In an interview with Glamour, he said, "Being a film guy, I've been sent every new brand for decades, and quite frankly, I couldn't tell the difference. I need something glaring to see the difference. We were doing the clinical testing while I was using the products this last year, and to my surprise, I really did see a difference. We truthfully wouldn't have brought this to the market unless we saw something." That's like every skincare I'm going to be honest, that's not the best statement I've heard about a skincare brand, like to warrant launching a skincare brand. Most skincare does something, especially if you've not been interested in skincare before, suddenly using a lot of skincare, you're going to see changes. So after 15 years of research and another year of product development and testing, Le Domaine finally launched in September of 2022 with a range of just 3 products. The Cleansing Emulsion, which is a gentle foaming cleanser that claims to clean and moisturize at the same time without drying out the skin, with those standout ingredients, of course, including grape water, grape skin extract, and Centella asiatica leaf extract. The cream, which claimed to leave skin feeling smoother, firmer, and more radiant, with those standout ingredients including organic olive oil grown on Pitt's French estate, shea butter, grape water, hydrolyzed hyaluronic acid, and Centella asiatica leaf extract. And despite being thick and rich, it apparently doesn't feel heavy or greasy when it's applied to the skin. This is apparently Brad Pitt's favorite of the products, and he claims that he uses it daily. The serum promises to reduce wrinkles and provide an intensive plumping effect, which supposedly delivers anti-aging benefits within just 28 days. The standout ingredients include grapevine stem cells, of course the grape water and hyaluronic acid, as well as a higher concentration of their patented ingredients, GSM-10 and ProGR3, which claims to be suitable for the face, neck, décolletage, and even sensitive eye contour area. Thick cream around there? I don't know. All the products contained their patented compounds, that GSM-10 and ProGR3, as well as being made of at least 96% natural ingredients, free from sulfates, surfactants, and being completely vegan. Great, lovely. Now, all the products came in refillable glass bottles with wooden caps made from recycled wine casks. But you know, those barrels, apparently to emphasize the brand's commitments to sustainability. I'm not sure why they need to go so ridiculously large and ugly though. I've said before that this is some of the worst packaging I think I've ever seen. It's very for him. You know, go to the words, chop some meat, chop some wood, and you know, I don't know, set fire to it? I don't know what men do, but whatever your thoughts are on the packaging, it's clear that reception to the brand's initial launch was mixed. Obviously, there was a lot of buzz around the brand, seeing as Brad Pitt was involved with it, and this led to a lot of beauty magazines and journalists praising the Domaine's products for their luxurious feel and effective results when it first came out. They even won multiple awards somehow for their products, such as GQ's Best Serum for Men, Vogue's Best Moisturizer, Glamour's Best Cleanser, as well as a long list of other awards. I'm sure people pay for these awards. And reception amongst average consumers was very, very different. It started out like fairly innocently, with a small translation mistake on the brand's website, which stated that their products contained no conservatives. Obviously, they meant that they didn't contain preservatives. But the internet, being the internet, obviously latched onto this, and plenty of people mocked the brand for their mistake. The real issue, though, was that it drew more attention to the fact that Le Domaine's products contained no preservatives, which led to even more posts and comments criticizing the brand for the clean fear-mongering and speculating that the products wouldn't last very long with no preservatives in them. You want preservatives in your skincare products. That's gross. This wasn't too big an issue, to be fair though, but things took a step up when just 5 days later after Le Domaine's launch, a group of indie beauty brand owners wrote an open letter to Brad Pitt accusing him of creating another buzzy but ineffectual celebrity beauty brand and calling him to close down Le Domaine immediately. The letter was originally from 5 indie beauty brands: Cara Haya, I think it's pronounced, Leon Ahana, Elf, I think it's pronounced not Elf, ELTH, but others soon added their support. They said they were tired of celebrities with no experience in the industry cashing in on the beauty industry with no thought for the impact on smaller brands who rely on the income from their sales for their livelihood. And this really was a time when every celebrity was launching a skincare brand. Or them. In the letter, they say, over the past few years, it seems that every celebrity feels like they can waltz into the industry that we have worked in our whole careers and gain the awareness overnight that we are so fighting for. You, dear celebrities, have no experience in this industry, and no, showing up to a photo shoot does not count as experience. You never interned in this industry or started as a low-level employee. You will never have to haul your day's orders to the post office or learn to code your own website. You will never not sleep because you never know how you're going to pay yourself for your staff or for your inventory. But again, this controversy, this open pen letter didn't really impact the brand that much, and I remember this being met with a little bit of criticism actually. Whilst people do agree with what they were saying, they're a bit like, no one owes you anything, to be honest with you. That being said, it didn't help the brand's image, especially seeing as they'd launched less than a week earlier. But as is often the case with celebrity brands, something that did become a major issue was the price. Now, celebrities putting ridiculously high prices on their ventures, whatever they may be, especially in the beauty world, isn't exactly anything new. But Le Domaine took this concept to a whole other level. We are talking Madonna's MDNA level. The cleansing emulsion would set you back $80 for 3.4 ounces, 100 milliliters. The cream was $320 for 50 milliliters. And most ridiculously, they were asking you to pay $385 for 30 milliliters of serum. That is your standard. No, that's not even, hang on. That's smaller than that. $385. Craziness. These prices aren't far off what you'd pay for something like Creme de la Mer. So this definitely wasn't a brand that the average consumer was going to be able to buy, or that consumers were flocking to buy. It also didn't help that reviews were like, lackluster. Look, the products were fine. The products were fine apparently, but you could get similar results for a fraction of the price from a whole range of more affordable brands. In fact, a lot of consumers were accusing Le Domaine of being nothing more than an overpriced ripoff of Caudalie, another brand that we know focuses on grape-derived ingredients, which have been operating for decades already. They're already a little bit pricier than you want to pay. We don't need another overpriced grape brand. Now, you might be thinking that Le Domaine was never really meant for the masses, right? I mean, its branding and pricing makes it come across as an ultra luxury brand for exclusive clientele only. But according to Brad Pitt, this is not the case at all. In several interviews, Brad Pitt has said that Le Domaine was designed to be all-inclusive. He's talked a lot about the brand being genderless, which honestly is questionable. Having to say this kind of thing in 2025 feels a bit weird, but it does feel masculine. It feels like a really bad, somehow like an old tobacco advert, like from the 70s. It's weird. And they try to avoid irritants as much as possible, as well as keeping the fragrance very subtle so anyone could barely notice it. Saying you would try to avoid irritants, then you've put in fragrance, doesn't make sense. I love fragrance, but you can't call a product free of irritants and put in fragrance. I'm sorry, you can't. But not only that, apparently the fragrance wasn't subtle at all. A lot of reviews said that the fragrance was way too strong. Now, he's gone on and on about how he thinks it's important for the brand to be as inclusive as possible, but he must have forgotten about that part when it came to deciding on the price though, because what the fuck? In fact, the messaging seems to have been a bit confused all round, altogether. Le Domaine has been marketed heavily as providing exceptional anti-aging benefits. It's their whole thing really, right? Their two patented compounds that they spent years researching are focused on anti-aging. But then in interviews, Brad Pitt says he doesn't like the term anti-aging. He says that we shouldn't be running from the idea of aging and that it's something we should embrace, which I will say is easier for men to say than women. It's a brand for men. And that's a great outlook to have, but then maybe don't launch a skincare brand that focuses on anti-aging. He has no idea what's going on. And all of this has led to Le Domaine to have been mostly ignored by the majority of skincare enthusiasts, and now, less than 3 years after its launch, most people have completely forgotten the brand even ever existed. That's kind of impressive, weirdly, for a brand with such a big name attached to it. But to be fair, it's probably a bit much to call Le Domaine an outright flop, seeing as it's questionable whether this was really meant for the average consumer in the first place. Despite Brad Pitt's claim that it is, it seems like Le Domaine, which was randomly rebranded as Beau Domaine last year for unknown reasons, was always supposed to be for his celebrity friends and the ultra wealthy. Last year, they even partnered with Hotel Les Lumières Versailles. I think that's the worst attempt at speaking French I've ever heard in my whole life. I'm so sorry. Oh, that was painful. A luxury hotel near Paris to feature its products exclusively at the hotel spa. Doesn't exactly scream accessibility to me, you know? I mean, like cowshed is a push. So although Brad Pitt's bizarre attempt at launching a skincare line wasn't necessarily an outright failure, unfortunately, I can't say the same thing for the next celebrity skincare brand I want to talk about today. In 2022, the same year, Jared Leto, renowned actor, successful musician, and alleged cult leader, made a bizarre foray into the beauty world with the launch of Twentynine Palms. The idea for this brand apparently came about when Leto had a chance meeting with Jonathan Karen, the founder of Mediterranean wellness brand Mapilim. The two hit it off and they decided that they wanted to work together on something. With Karen's experience in the beauty world, launching a beauty brand seemed like the obvious choice, right? The inspiration for the brand came from Leto's obsession with the desert, particularly the Mojave Desert. The brand name Twentynine Palms comes from the city of the same name, which is seen as the gateway to the Joshua Tree National Park, which covers both the Mojave and Colorado deserts. Now, the area is known for its rugged landscapes, wellness centers, and exceptional stargazing opportunities, all of which were somehow incorporated into this brand's image and products. It sounds great, don't get me wrong, it sounds really, really good. And many of the key ingredients come from desert regions, and I think this is, again, a great concept, like the prickly pear extract, which I love. Rich in antioxidants, helps protect the skin from environmental stresses, it's soothing, it's hydrating. This is a plant that is hydrated in the desert. It makes sense skincare-wise, right? Evening primrose oil, which apparently also has soothing properties, helping to calm irritated skin. Explaining his reasoning for choosing these kind of ingredients, Leto said that because of his challenging, unforgiving environment, these ingredients have to be incredibly resilient to survive. Again, good concept. And the names of the products all linked into this Joshua Tree desert branding as well, like the Mesquite Springs Hydrating Serum, I've probably said that wrong, or the Desert Tumbleweed Cleansing Shampoo. Not sure Desert Tumbleweed is an image that I really want when it comes to my hair. Like this dry brittle thing floating across the bathroom floor, it doesn't make sense. Maybe that's what he meant though, like it's anti-tumbleweed, I don't know. The brand was formed in April of 2022 with Jared Leto and Jonathan Karen as co-founders, and just 6 months later, in October 2022, they launched their first and only collection of 11 gender-neutral products, including skincare, body care, and hair care products. The range included, first of all, too many products, but their Cosmic Cypress Facial Cleanser, formulated to gently cleanse the skin, removing impurities while maintaining its natural balance. The Mesa Mystic Facial Exfoliating Solution, designed to exfoliate and renew the skin, promoting a smoother and more radiant complexion. The Santa Ana Salve Facial Moisturizer, which provides deep hydration, nourishing the skin to enhance its softness and elasticity. The Mesquite Springs Hydrating Serum, to deliver intense moisture to the skin, aiming to improve hydration levels and overall skin texture. The Mira Luna Eye Cream is an eye cream. Oh my god, we can go on and on. Rock Rose Clay Mask. Moonlight Mesa Hand Wash to wash your hands with. Moonlight Mesa Hand Cream, it's a hand cream. Pinion Poet Body Wash. Honestly, I quite like the sound of this one. It's just a body wash, but I like the name. The Desert Tumbleweed Cleansing Shampoo and the Desert Tumbleweed Softening Conditioner. First of all, 11 products, what the fuck? It's too much. With Leto's celebrity status, right, and Karen's experience launching a beauty brand, you'd be forgiven for thinking Twentynine Palms would be a straightforward success story like a lot of celebrity skincare brands. They were decent. But in reality, things went wrong almost immediately. And if you don't already know this story, it's so embarrassing. Right from the start, the brand's premium pricing obviously faced a lot of criticism. And that's not too surprising given that the Rock Rose Clay Mask was priced at $95 for 1.4 ounces and the eye cream at $97. And other products were equally expensive for what you were actually getting, for the amount you were getting. The products weren't quite as ridiculously expensive as Brad Pitt's line, but they still went well beyond what most consumers would see as reasonable. Not even what they could afford, but what was reasonable for what they were getting. Many questioned these crazy high prices, especially after Leto was interviewed for a Vogue article where he plain out just admitted and said, I've never really been interested in beauty products, then going on to say, but I'm interested in the idea of taking care of ourselves in the most natural way possible. Okay. I think that's kind of reflected in the fact that it took 6 months to make your 11 products. I'm not sure many agreed that paying $97 for an eye cream really lined up with the idea of taking care of yourselves in the most natural way possible though. And things really just got worse from there. In December of 2022, just 2 months after the brand launched, co-founder and CEO Jonathan Karen quietly left the organization with no explanation. It was unclear who actually took over as CEO at that point, but whoever it was, they didn't really do a great job, seeing as the brand became essentially defunct just a few months later. Their last social media post on Instagram was March of 2023, and all their products were sold out on their website just a few weeks after. The website is still active, but since April 2023, all the products have been listed as coming soon. It's 2 years later and the products still haven't been restocked. So I don't think they are really coming back soon. The very few fans that the brand did have also started complaining around this time that their customer service queries were being ignored, with some even claiming that they're just trying to get a refund for faulty products or had contacted the brand regarding adverse reactions they'd had to the products, but they just never got any answer from the brand. And there was no communication from anyone, not the brand, not Karen, and not even Jared Leto, about what was actually happening with Twentynine Palms until 5 months later, when Jared Leto's publicist finally told The Hollywood Reporter that he'd actually left the brand months earlier. They claimed that he terminated his relationship with the brand's parent company, Mapalim Limited, following what he says was a breach of contract and mismanagement by the brand operator. I don't know why he couldn't have just said that? Why he couldn't have just said that he just left the brand 5 months earlier? I don't know. Maybe it was a contract thing. I don't know. To be honest, it just sounds like he tried to escape before the brand went under anyway. 29 Palms started poorly with a lackluster launch, which wasn't helped by Leto telling people that he'd never really been interested in beauty products anyway, and they never really recovered from there. The 29 Palms Instagram page, which was their main social media channel, reached just under 8,000 followers at its peak. That's really shit, I'm not gonna lie, considering Jared Leto himself has almost 12 million followers on the same platform. In the end, Jared Leto's half-hearted attempt at entering the beauty world lasted a grand total of 6 months, arguably making it the most unsuccessful celebrity beauty brand in history, which is quite an achievement to be fair, because a lot of them are shit. At the end of the day, star power just isn't always enough nowadays. It doesn't guarantee success, especially when it comes to skincare. We're far more educated, we know what we want, and despite the names behind them both, Domaine and 29 Palms, they both struggle to make any real impact on an already overcrowded and competitive market. And they both had similar issues, which are all too common for celebrity beauty brands. The prices were far too high, especially when they weren't providing anything extraordinary or groundbreaking. The messaging was an absolute fucking mess, and they both failed to convince fans that this was a genuine attempt at providing something useful, rather just the cash grab that most assumed it would be anyway.